to this very day. A great example of that is the state of California, which has a population of approximately 40 million people, meaning that approximately 12% of all Americans live within the state of California. And those Americans are currently facing the prospect of living with even stricter COVID vaccine-related laws. That's because at this very moment, there are currently 10 bills within the California state legislature which aim to get more people vaccinated by any means possible, while at the same time offering no caveats for people who have natural immunity. Here's in fact a brief summary of those 10 bills, which are again currently working through the California state legislature. In regards to the bills in the state assembly, you have AB 1993, which would require proof of COVID vaccination for all employees and independent contractors who work in California. You have AB 2098, which will classify any physician who expresses an anti-COVID medical opinion as quote-unquote unprofessional conduct subject to discipline by the state's medical board. You have AB 1797, which will create an immunization tracking system, essentially giving all government agencies across the entire state access to the vaccination records of all people. And then you have the bills in the state Senate, such as SB 871, which would add COVID injections to the list of mandatory immunizations for public and private schools in the state, regardless of FDA approval. You have SB 866, which would lower the age of vaccination consent so that you can have 12-year-olds now within the state of California choosing to get the vaccine without either parental consent or parental knowledge. You have SB 920, which would authorize the state medical board to inspect a doctor's office as well as a doctor's medical records without patient consent. You have SB 1464, which would require law enforcement agencies throughout the state to either enforce public health guidelines or to lose their funding. Then you have SB 1479, which would require schools in the state of California to create a long-term COVID testing plan, as well as to report the test results to the California Department of Public Health. You have SB 1390, which would prohibit any person or even any entity from making statements that the government deems to be untrue or misleading by any means, including even on social media. And then lastly, you have SB 1184, which would authorize the health personnel within schools to disclose a child's medical information without parental consent to a third party. And so that is what is coming down the pipe in the state of California. And by the way, just as a small aside, the truckers convoy, which has been